Hey everybody, what's up? I hope everyone's doing great. This is the second time you see me today. I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. I'm struggling, okay? I'm struggling. Struggling to get this work done. I work a little bit and then I'm just like, I'm done. Ooh, the Wheel of Fortune with the Three of Pentacles at the cut. So let's see. I was sitting on the porch. I went out to sit on the porch for a minute. I thought about the Hierophant spread that I have yet to build. And then I thought about the one that I have built. So the alternate form. And so we're gonna pull for that one and we're gonna see what's up. This will be a general, like a lot of the stuff I do. Ooh, Ten of Cups with Justice. Now we saw Justice earlier today. Yeah, just I was like, I'll go in and I'll do the Hierophant spread. Ooh, the Sun and the Ten of Cups. Okay, so I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this energy. Strength and the Ten of Cups. Okay. Another Leo energy. You know, the Sun, Leo, Strength, Leo. The Four of Wands and the Ten of Cups. Okay. This is looking kind of gorgeous. I, I kind of want to stop because I'm afraid it's going to be something I don't want to see. Okay. Now it's the Moon and the Four of Wands. And that's not bad. It's just we don't necessarily know how we're gonna get there, which is fine. I don't think it's for us to know necessarily, because there is still an element of it that is you just gotta like kind of sort of trust and believe in it, right? Oops. So I'm gonna shuffle up the affirmators card for whoever asks the question. I guess I'll just pull the first three cards and we'll see what the vibe is. Just have these on standby just in case. Excuse me. I got some Arizona green tea from the carton. Excuse me that I'm sipping on. Yeah, it's almost gone, unfortunately. Five of Cups and the Tower. I like these energies because they're both swines. So it's bringing that Five of Cups energy. I feel like it's going to actually expand it. Or it has the opportunity to expand the Five of Cups so that we can have more room for other cups. More cups. Ace of Pentacles with the Tower. Not going to look at these too much. Just put the... Ooh! The Sun and the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, yeah, we are. Alright, let's give this a few shuffles. The Five of Swords and the Sun. Which could be the same blockage that we saw yesterday with the Six of Cups and the Five of Swords. Well, we made it past the Five of Cups. Page of Cups and the Five of Swords. And last but not least, the King of Cups and the Page of Cups. That's leveling up real quick. So for anyone who asks, let's get this in an order that feels right. Actually, it kind of sort of feels right, just like that. Well, we'll give it a few of these. There we go. Alright. Now let me pull this up and we'll get into it. Oh, it's 444. Look at that. Look at that. 444. You see that? Oh, 445 now. Excuse me. Where am I going? What am I looking for? Where am I looking? I rearranged like all of the apps on my home screen, so I don't remember where this one is. Oh, it's right here. Okay, yeah, it's literally the very first one. Because I check my email like all the time. Here's the dice. Let's get into this Hierophant spree. Here it is. I think I've only done this one like once or twice. It's fairly dense. So, and I think I changed the order of some of these last time I did it too. Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's do it. Let's just go for it. I'm actually going to pull this up on my little iPad so I can see it a little bit bigger. Oh, goodness. This is a lot. The Entertainer just popped into my mind. That song hasn't popped into my mind in a long time. It used to pop into my head like all the time. It's been a while. Oh, goodness. This old brain of mine. Okay, thank you. I guess I haven't signed in yet. So, okay, yeah, sure. Can I just open the things, please? Mercury goes retrograde tomorrow. Mercury stations retrograde tomorrow. We ready for that? That Mercury retrograde action? I need my technology to work because I got like 2 months to finish these classes. And I need for my brain to work as well. So I'm hoping that Mercury is kind. And I need to shift some things over so I don't lose it. Okay. Here we go. Let's pull up the Hierophant. Where is it? Here it is. Whew, this one is, it's pretty intense. This one is pretty intense. And all of these are yellow. So I don't think anything necessarily comes from the bottom of the deck. Let me make sure I got, yep, I have my colors conserved. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle these, and we're just going to pull off the top. King of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. I like that energy. I'm seeing so many cards that I love at the cut, though. Like, yes. Eight of Cups and the King of Cups. Okay. The Four of Cups and the Eight of Cups. All right. The King of Pentacles and the Four of Cups with the Two of Swords falling out. Okay. A few more. Give it a cut there. So let's go. Oh, I don't know if I have enough room. This would be kind of tight, but we got this. Right. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the King of Pentacles, which is a Taurus energy. Hierophant is Taurus energy. Fixed Earth. So let's get into this. I'm nervous. I forgot it was like this. Okay. So, and I'm trying to actively remember how I did this as well. Let's see. I'm going to leave a timestamp in the description box real quick. And I'm going to say it's 11:20. Just say 11:30. In at 11:30. There we go. So let's get into this beefy thing that frightens me. I write these sometimes. Ooh. Okay, this is interesting because we're starting with the Ten of Swords and the Seven of Swords at the middle of all of this. So this is interesting. So at the heart of this, I feel like it's about putting us in a position to be able to navigate and circumvent the difficulties of life. It's supposed to be about a system that keeps our ego in check, keeps us acting in alignment, and prevents us from inheriting harsher karmic things traditionally. But we have this owl that looks on, and the owl reminds me of Minerva or Athena. Wisdom. Also, like good war, strategic war. Things that it's like not pointless violence. But the Seven of Swords is coming in, and it's interjecting its influence on this. It's that energy of like, if you've been raised in the church or if you've gone to, I don't have to say if you, so growing up in the church, it's like the devil knows the Bible just as well as anybody else. And so sometimes it's like devil energy can come in and use something that sounds legit to get us to act or behave in a certain type of way. And this, it speaks to the greed and the power of man. The greed and the desire for power that man has that comes in, and it sort of disrupts what this Hierophant energy is supposed to be about. I feel like I need a clarifier because that just, the Ten of Swords. It's like it's supposed to put us in a spot where we can look at and observe our own ego. Where we look at and we observe our own lives at the same time that spirit does. And it more or less keeps us on the same page. But with the Seven of Swords, it's like greed and the desire for power have come in to corrupt things. Also, competition. When we look at other people and we hold other people to higher standards than we hold ourselves in. We're more harsh, we're more critical of other people not following the code that we believe then we are actually following what we believe. It's like we give ourselves grace and lenience, but treat others with judgment in a personal way, in a personal sense. So now we're sitting at, look, you see this? You see this? The Hierophant, the high priest, crowning his own spread, sitting at the top of his own spread. That it is this energy. And another thing about the Hierophant is there's this inherent ability to lead. Everything goes upside down for y'all, but it's upright for me. Just throwing that out there. And there's this illusion that Hierophant energy carries the only keys to the kingdom. And what is a key, right? It's something that unlocks something else. Something that has a sort of complementarity to something else. And a good key, a skeleton key, a master key, can open many locks, but a good lock is opened by only one key. It's like there are two pieces to the puzzle. There's the sun aspect and the moon aspect, the silver key and the golden key, and we get really focused on the golden key. We get focused on the aspects that it's like, as a follower of this system of thought, I must act in this way to be perceived in such a way. But with the key of the moon, it's about who and what we actually are on the inside as well. And there shouldn't be such a huge disconnect between who we are on the outside and who we are on the inside. Now, there are certain things that, we ain't necessarily got to go out and be all of who we are all the time. But when it comes to spirituality, there should be some harmony there. But again, with the Seven of Swords, it's like we focus so much on the outside and what everyone else is doing and how we are perceived that it takes away from what this is actually supposed to be about. And it's actually supposed to be about the Ten of Swords in our own lives, but not a Ten of Swords as a state of grief, Ten of Swords as keeping the ego in check. Okay. Over here we have the King of Cups, which is interesting. And then over here we got the Empress. So already feminine energy is leaps and bounds ahead of masculine energy, but that's fine. It's fine because I feel like after masculine energy integrates this King of Cups energy, he'll be at the space of the Emperor. Just like earlier today, the King of Wands had reached that state of completion. Because, no, well, how did it go? It was the King of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Sun. So the King of Wands was coming into this greater illuminatory, I guess, ability because he wasn't immediately getting what it is that he was going after. But since he continued to go after it, he integrated the energies of the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles. The only king he was missing was the King of Cups. And then the King of Cups came out, the World came out, and I think something came out between them that I don't remember. And I was like, oh, well, here's the King of Cups. It was the King of Cups, the World, and then the Page of Cups? Or was the Page of Cups? Anyway, I'm just going to remember what came out. I know the King of Cups and the World came out, and I was like, oh, see, here's the King of Cups, because he naturally integrates the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords in the space of him attaining or going after whatever this desire is. The only thing he's missing is the King of Cups, and after the King of Cups came the World card, which was the completion that let him open the chapter of Emperor-dom. But what is interesting is, and I think this happened last time as well, which is why I flipped it, the masculine energy is coming out on the feminine side, and the feminine energy is coming out on the masculine side. And I'm pretty sure this happened last time I did this as well. Because then I looked at everything and I was like, wait, I might have to change the numbers around. But no, This is how it, yeah. So how I have it now, I already fixed it. And it reminds me of a while ago. When I did the Trident spread. I did the spread based around the Emperor and then the spread based around the Empress. And in the Emperor spread, I think there was a lot of feminine energy because masculine energy is coming into this space of softening. Also, if we look at it this way, this Hierophant energy stands between basically us and that creative sort of power and ability we have. It keeps the Empress energy locked up behind these keys that only it possesses, but these are keys that we inherently all have access to. But it's only when we seek them out through the space of this Hierophant energy do we need the Hierophant energy to get to this space. We're sitting in the space of the King of Cups as, the collective is going through the softening of masculine energy. As we have this opportunity to come into systems, structures, governments, organizations that are more based on the people and serving the people rather than sort of like the money, right? That's that King of Pentacles at the bottom. So with the Hierophant spread, we could be shifting from this King of Pentacles energy to a more King of Cups energy that'll get us a lot closer to Empress energy. This is like a little bit more surface level than how this spread is actually written, because like I said, this spread is just a lot more than I remembered. I'm like, ooh, this is a lot. Okay. So now we come down here. We have the Five of Swords and the Four of Swords. So this is good though, because I would say that the Four of Swords is the more feminine energy, while the Five of Swords is the more masculine energy, because feminine energy is receptive and yielding, masculine energy is expressive and advancing. But again, it does kind of sort of feel like feminine energy is in a space of waiting for masculine energy to catch up. And then with the Seven of Swords between them, it's like Hierophant energy has twisted things in a way where masculine energy is trying to go and claim what feminine energy has natural. It's not that she naturally rules it, it's more like a natural ability. It's like a knack. It's she's naturally inclined, naturally gifted in that area. And again, it's not that feminine energy has sole rights to whatever this is, but in masculine energy pursuing what feminine energy naturally rules over, it neglects its own, not purpose, but it neglects its own abilities. And it's almost like impossible for masculine energy to know what it's truly capable of, because it's so obsessed with what feminine energy is doing and what feminine energy is capable of. And so it feels like, and like with this masculine energy, honestly, it feels like an energy that everyone is in, right? It's not just men, male identifying or male dominant energies that are in this masculine energy. It's basically everybody, because we all fall under a Hierophant system. Even when we think for ourselves, more often than not, we just go find somebody else to follow. It's like, I think for myself, I listen to this person, that person, and the other person instead of those people I used to listen to. And it's like, well, next time we claim to think for ourselves, let's try, I don't know, thinking for ourselves. Let's try going within and bringing that to the surface. And so it feels like masculine energy is going through a process of, it's like rewiring itself. And feminine energy, hold on. Feminine energy is in a space of, hold up. Feminine energy is in a space of stillness as it should be. It's yielding and receptive. Masculine energy is in a state of, I would say this is a state of, it's more chaotic. It's not necessarily progressive. It's kind of divisive. And it's dissecting, overly dissecting. And it's overly dissecting because, again, it's trying to almost go after something, claim something else that is not its own to claim. And then the middle has the Sun card, which is the lightest thing in this whole thing, and I love it. I wanted to do the Hermit spread too, but we'll see. Well, this one is going a lot quicker than I thought, so I might actually turn around and do that, or I might use a different deck and just put the Hermit spread on top of this. I don't know, because with the Sun here, this is the space of principle. And the principle is what it's all about, or what it's supposed to be about. And the Sun being the principle for Hierophant energy is perfect because that's the energy that a lot of Hierophant energies build themselves around. But when we look at it in practice, it's like, in theory, it's one thing, but in practice, it's something completely different. And again, it's because of these very human things that this Hierophant energy goes from us living our own lives in a way that it's like living our lives in a way that doesn't take anything from the space around us. Instead, it has us contributing to creating those spaces. But enter greed, and it becomes a whole other circus. In this Hierophant energy, it is the space of a false prophet, honestly. It's like devil energy in a wig and a cap and some different clothes. Because instead of it being about this, more often than not, it ends up about something else. And then we have the Star and the Queen of Swords. Now, these down here, it's what this energy is kind of supposed to be. So we have the Five of Swords, which is often about destruction, right? The Five of Swords, it's about exerting more force than the situation requires. It's basically not knowing when to stop. It's going to extremes to accomplish one's own ends. And then we have the Star here. So whereas this masculine energy is in a space of taking and destroying, it's supposed to be in this space of guiding and healing. And this feminine energy, as the one that's more intuitive, in these spaces of quietness, it sort of discovers these truths. But it honestly feels like feminine energy is anchoring this truth. through her connection to the ability to give birth. She is more intimately connected with life than masculine energy is, because she carries it and she, releases it to the world. He also has something to contribute to the process of life, but he isn't necessarily the one responsible for carrying it out. Right. But I feel like this connection to life, it goes deeper than how we see it or talk about it more often than not. Because I feel like it's more connected to, it's not the aspect of giving birth, it's the process of giving birth. Right? It's not the fact that, those born genetically female have the ability to like get pregnant. Well, some of them don't, right? Unfortunately. Um, so it's not just the fact that women carry babies or women give birth. It's everything that goes into it. It's the process of sacrifice, the process of pouring into yourself what you don't have to pass on to something else. It's this very like biological type of flow, right? It's like I eat this and my body does this. Some of it goes through the umbilical cord and it feeds the baby. So there's this thing that I do, but my body naturally does all of these different conversions and transportations to give life to the thing that to pour life into this vessel. And as more and more life pours into the vessel, and as it develops, it becomes this thing that is capable of holding consciousness. And so it's not just that, like, oh, women give birth to babies, so they're whatever. It's almost like all of the little things that we don't even think about, really, the more mechanistic things behind the scenes, because that mechanism gives us something to look at when we are basically projecting our own consciousness out into the world around us. And masculine energy does the same thing, but in an inorganic way. With feminine energy, since feminine energy does it in an organic way, it invites an outside consciousness into the vessel that she creates. But masculine energy projects its consciousness in a way that other people can interact and engage with. Right? But one of these, again, it's like with feminine energy, it's a vessel that can take on a consciousness of its own. And masculine energy, through the space of collective use and agreement, it can take on an energy that the creator of it didn't necessarily intend. But it's almost like masculine energy kind of sort of bridges the gap through the space of expression, right? Feminine energy welcomes the consciousness, masculine energy projects it. I don't know what this is. And I think I'm going to take these to clarify these this time. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to use these more as clarifiers this time. So we have the Eight of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, feminine energy, it stands ready to receive. Masculine energy is responsible for change. Masculine energy holds the power of seasons and the power of cycles. Feminine energy gives birth. Masculine energy is the space of evolution. Because time is a very masculine sort of construct. It's recorded, it's kept, and it flows in a way that causes the creation of feminine energy to either flourish or decay. Just like the sun, if the sun is a masculine energy and earth is a feminine energy, the sun is what gives life on earth what it needs to transfer from step to step, from a seed to a sprout to a tree, from winter to fall to summer to spring. I guess we'll go backwards to the seasons. I mean, I said winter, but I meant to say summer. From summer to fall to winter to spring. That's gravity and light. Right? Right? How does that work? Yeah. Well, because so I think it's that like the earth kind of sort of wobbles on its axis a little bit. So when it's pointed closer to the sun, it's summer. And as it points further from the sun, it's winter. And that's why it's different on the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, because that's north hemisphere close to the sun, south hemisphere away from the sun, summer, winter, and then we switch, and that's winter, summer. It's that wobble that it does as it rotates on its axis or something like that. But again, that's all gravity. And it's how the earth compensates. It's like the gravitation, the gravity. Goodness, I don't like physics. The earth exerts a gravitational force on the sun, but the sun also exerts a gravitational force on the earth. And the force of the sun on the earth is greater than the force of the earth on the sun. It's a larger body, it holds more gravity. But the gravitational pull of the earth is strong enough to keep the moon in orbit, right? Now, the moon is interesting because I don't think it rotates, which is why we always see the same face of the moon. Or, I don't know. Let me not talk about stuff that I'm not 100% sure about. Because I thought about it the other day. And I'm like, I don't know. It's not about the moon. The earth has its own gravitational pull and it balances out to where both are sort of satisfied. Anyway, seasons, cycles, and time, it all falls under masculine energy. Feminine energy is responsible for the creation. And so, in that way, it's almost like since the Hierophant is associated with the masculine energy, there is a responsibility on Hierophant energy to make it as easy as possible to get the collective to see the truth of what feminine energy knows. Because masculine energy, it's about the expression. But oftentimes what happens is its own humanity gets in the way of the expression of that truth and its own limitations, not even its own humanity, just its own limitations. Its own limitations gets in the way, and that's why we're supposed to take the keys for ourselves and discover within. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. And so with masculine energy, it's almost just like it's time to come into another season. Because the Eight of Cups, it is a card of movement. And then here we have the Five of Swords. And with the Eight of Cups and the Five of Swords, it's like we're finally walking away from that battlefield. It's like it's like, okay, it's done. It's done. It's like it took like 15 people to pull us off of whatever to pull masculine energy off of whatever it was fixated on, but now it's realizing, okay, it's time to walk away, right? And that's the beauty of that Mars Saturn square right before Mars went retrograde. Because like Saturn is the only planet that Mars actually listens to. It's exalted in the space of Saturn. And because I feel like Mars is that warrior energy, but it fights for a purpose, it fights for a reason. It doesn't always fight just to fight, but when it's in that space of Aries, it's like that's when it's overcome by the momentum of the moment, overcome by adrenaline or, other hormones as they pump through the body. And Saturn rules the world card, which is about seasons, basically. We close one chapter, but another opens. It's always that way. It's never over. One ending always leads to another beginning. Seasons, cycles. And over here, on the feminine side, it's more about channeling. Like I was talking about how, the mother eats something and then it turns into something that the baby uses through the space of the umbilical cord. And it's like this feminine energy is moving its arms in a circle, right? Creating this current of air for energies to kind of sort of funnel through into her. She sits as the conduit of it. She like digests it, converts it, and then reverses the flow of the channel to bring it out. And again, whatever she gives birth to is subject to the seasons and cycles over here. And that's kind of sort of why this harmony is important between them, because things take time. And if it arrives early, then depending on what it is, the time that it requires might be different. And if it arrives later, then the time required might be different. And I don't know what I'm going to title this. And in that way, masculine energy has just as important of a role in life and also the creation of life as feminine energy does. Because without the season, without the cycle, there would be no growth, there would be no evolution, there would be no change. Everything is in motion, everything is in movement. That's the masculine principle, the principle of movement. But everything is born and everything dies. And that's the feminine principle. Now they meet at the end. and then it's born again. Temperance and the Chariot. This is such an interesting. This is so interesting. Masculine energy is all about movement, and then we end with temperance. Feminine energy is all about yielding and reception, or being receptive, and then we end with the Chariot over here. It's like, okay, well, that's what I said, right? Because this is technically the masculine side, but the Empress came out, and then this is the feminine side, but the King of Cups came out, and both of their energies are predominantly associated with the leader, but the final energy is associated with how that space was supposed to be laid out. And I feel like that's a message in and of itself of how things have become twisted in a certain way. And in the contortion of those things, it keeps us from really fully exploring the true depth of what these energies have to offer, because we're constantly looking in the wrong direction. And again, everyone is kind of sort of wired differently. Everyone has different inclinations, natural abilities. And it reminds me of electrons, right? You can have an electron with an upspin and an electron with a downspin. And if they have complementary spins, then they can occupy the same space, basically. And it reminds me of, I can't remember what it is, but like if you have an atom that has however many electrons, it's like in the closest to the atom, that space can accommodate 2 electrons. And then you get further out, that space can accommodate 8 or 6 additional electrons, I believe. And then when you get further out, it can accommodate more electrons. And so if you have an atom with 100 electrons, it's going to be 2, 6 more, and then it just continues to build out. But when you're filling in those spaces, you do all of one spin first, right? So if we're talking about the p orbital, which is those 3 additional spaces, if you have 3 electrons, let's say you have 5 electrons in total, right? The first level is 2, so you have 1 up and 1 down, and then you have 3 more. You would have 3 electrons all with an up spin. And then when you put in a 4th one, it converts itself, or whatever, however it's coming, into this down spin, so it can occupy the same space as this one. But again, we fill everything up with the upspin first, and then we accommodate with the downspin to get 6, and then it's the same throughout. And the most stable elements are the ones that have a completed outer shell of electrons, right? Helium, 2 protons, 2 electrons. That's the 1 up and the 1 down. What's after helium? Argon? No, argon it's way too close. What is it? Because I know it's nitrogen. It's carbon, then nitrogen, then oxygen. What's after? Girl, I should know. I mean, I guess it was a long time ago when I took organic chemistry and any kind of chemistry. But the noble gases are the ones that have electron shells that are full. And so there's this energy of, I don't know, it feels like something is forced, but the gift of Hierophant energy is time. The curse of Hierophant energy is time. Because it doesn't have to make sense. But with time, we're conditioned to believe that it does. And so this energy has the ability to shape the world, basically. Because, and again, it's like Hierophant energy and double energy. It's basically 2 sides of the same coin. We call it Hierophant energy when we don't necessarily see how it negatively impacts us in devil energy when we do. But for a lot of spiritual systems, you have your do's and then you have your don'ts, right? And both of them keep us bound in one way or another. One of them we're more willingly bound to sometimes. What deck do I have to put cards on top of? What's a comparable size to these? The Kawaii Tarot? I don't know. Maybe I should just end it here. I kind of do want to put some more cards on top of it, though. But I don't think I will. I don't think I will. So we're ending with Temperance and the Chariot. So let's just do this really quick, shall we? Oops. There we go. Let's put this in reverse. Why not? This feels better. Because now it feels like instead of. Because it's like with the masculine energy being in the feminine space, it feels like that's the energy of projecting distortion. That's when it's like we are condemning other people and holding other people accountable for how we feel we're supposed to conduct our own lives. And it's not our responsibility to do that. It's our responsibility to be basically the example that we wish to see in the world, to live our own code of truth and to allow other people to do the same with theirs. Temperance is all about alchemy, and it's all about balance. And if we're talking about the element of time, then that balance is important. Because again, too much time or too little time could be detrimental to the evolution of whatever it is that the Empress is giving birth to. Just like if something arrives prematurely or post maturely, there could also be complications. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. But it feels legit to me. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to go through this 3 times and we'll see what comes out. That was 1, 2, 3. This one is in reverse. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, there's the Queen of Cups. I see the Queen of Cups. We'll keep this with this. I guess we'll keep the Queen of Cups on this. With the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Bottom of the deck now is the Knight of Cups. It's interesting because the Knight of Cups and the Six of Wands came out at the bottom, and then there's the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the space of inner knowing, and we're supposed to be operating from that space of inner knowing with the Knight of Cups instead of the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is the desire and the need for recognition from other people, but it's empty because there's no substance in it. That's why they're facing in opposite directions, right? That shouldn't be the case. But the High Priestess is there, so we know what's it. That's why a lot of it brings, it's like an empty sense of fulfillment. It's how we could accomplish something but not be satisfied by that accomplishment. Nothing came. World card is at the top of the deck. I'm gonna have to count my cards and make sure I didn't lose any. Okay, so we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, which to me is a very sort of, especially when we have the Queen of Cups upright. Now, if the Knight of Pentacles were upright, he would be going to meet the Queen of Cups. But in reverse, he's been sent out on a mission from an element, from a court that is not his. But the suit of water and the suit of earth are intimately connected. They're the feminine suits, right? And especially like these together, it's a very hanged man type energy where we're navigating in the world a little bit differently than what Hierophant energy would convince us is the proper way to do it. Because we're following a sort of system that is more closely tied to what we know to be true within our own waters. And again, it's when the hangman disobeys the laws of the Hierophant that he's put to death. And it's like when the hangman is put to death, he gets his wings, and the Hierophant energy accumulates more karma for continuing to enforce this sort of program, I guess, that it's putting out. That, I mean, it knows that it's counterintuitive. Not counterintuitive. Well, yeah, it is counterintuitive. It knows that it puts out these things that are counterintuitive sometimes. Sometimes it's so subtle that we don't fully recognize it. Over here in reverse is the Six of Pentacles. My watch is about to die. Over here in reverse is the Six of Pentacles. And again, it's like it's almost impossible for us to give to the situation in a way that actually gets us where we want. Because again, this energy, it contorts everything to keep you in a space to rely on it. If everyone came into what Hierophant energy is supposed to bring us into, we wouldn't really need Hierophant energy. If everyone was connected to themselves and operating in their own individual truths, all connected to the greater truth, would we need Hierophant energy? No. What would we need it for? Would there still be places to congregate and gather? Yeah. But we wouldn't then need the singular figureheady type person at the helm leading it, right? There's a difference between like gathering between friends or gathering between those of like mind and gathering to sit under someone else. And there's a lot of stuff that sort of it's maintained by that lack type energy, right? It's like if we actually solved problems, there would be no more solutions to sell, right? And I don't necessarily want to say this, but it's like, why are there so many side effects with certain medications? Well, it's to get you to buy another medication. Either it's ineffective or it's going to put you in a space to buy something else. Because if you're actually solving problems, what you're doing is you're coming for people's wallets. And when people come for people's wallets and it's these corporations, people end up disappearing. It's not actually about solving problems. It's not actually about getting anybody any closer to the divine. It's about getting you further indoctrinated into the systems that are already there. And if it wasn't about that, don't you think with as long as some of these systems have been around, that something on this planet would, I don't know, be different or would have changed? And that we wouldn't still kind of sort of be stuck in the same things that we've been stuck in for how long? It's like, how long does it take to get to the sun? I don't know. How long do we gotta wait until brighter days come? Over here is the Knight of Swords, the King of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. Now we saw both of these cards earlier. And then the Seven of Wands is sitting on top of the Eight of Cups. And the Seven of Wands sitting on top of the Eight of Cups, to me, it's like whenever we get in a spot to escape, how Hierophant energy has the masculine energy tied up. It's like it creates another illusion for us to fight or something like that. So we know we're supposed to be walking away with that Eight of Cups, but we decide to stay and fight. It's like fighting a battle that we've basically already won. Like the Five of Swords, it's already over, but we're fighting it anyway. Like you already have the place of advantage. What more do you have to gain from staying in the situation? And with the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Knight of Swords, it does feel like Hierophant energy, it also has the ability to limit, let's say, the amount of awakened individuals there are. It also limits those who would go against its program because all of which it controls, right? Hierophant energy can be like, okay, you don't have to play by my rules, but if you want any kind of financial security or stability or whatever, you're on your own. And so that's why sometimes, or that's why it can sometimes be so easy to make these ethically and morally questionable decisions. And it's like, it's for money. It's for this, it's for that. I mean, isn't that always how like double energy works? I'll give you this if you do that. And people are like, oh, bet, yeah, like I get some time to enjoy it, and then you come for my soul. Work. As long as I get a second with this, then it's worth it, I guess. I'm like, I'd rather remain intact over here and just, Queen of Cups, Knight of Pentacles in reverse my own way to this. And again, it does feel like whenever you try to grow something with the Seven of Pentacles, there's this attack on your ego that will come and burn the crops, and then this Knight of Swords, this incomplete truth that'll come down and cut whatever wasn't burned. And then that's why we have this Queen of Swords down here, feminine energy standing in the space of her own truth, regardless. And I love it coming out with this Temperance card, because it's like with the energy of Temperance backing this Queen of Swords, she's able to, it's like this decrypting energy. Like if there's a safe or a lock, she's able to like shift things around and then unlock the truth of the situation. Because again, this Hierophant energy it's very like contorty. And then over here now we have the Chariot clarifying the Star card, which is all about projecting that light. And it's not a sun energy, it's a star, right? We can put our own truth out there, but it's not necessarily to indoctrinate someone else in our own truth, because again, we all discover our own unique individual truths that are connected through charted constellations and charted stars in the sky, right? Our sun could be part of a constellation that we don't even know about, because from where we sit, all the other stars are outside. But it's all connected to this greater truth. And this is us moving forward from the space of our own truth, our own clarity, out into the world. And it's also this propagation of healing energy outside. It's a very Knight of Cups energy. as opposed to this Knight of Swords or the Knight of Wands. It's like, as the Knight of Swords progresses, he would cut down anything that grows in violation of this. As the Knight of Wands progresses, he just burns everything. But as the Knight of Cups moves forward, it fertilizes the ground beneath him. As the Knight of Pentacles moves forward, it plants these seeds in the ground beneath him. Again, I don't know what this is, but I guess I'll just make sure I count all my cards and try to make sure I got everything. So, yeah. I mean, I've been feeling it for a minute that something about the way that we look at feminine and masculine energy is off, or the picture is incomplete, or we don't fill in the blanks like how anyone is really saying it. Because again, in my mind, it's like, if any of this was correct, then like, wouldn't we be somewhere? And I know I just said like a lot, but it's like that, because it's like, if somebody had the keys to unlock whatever, shouldn't something be different? Oh my gosh. That scared me earlier too. I was like, whew. Alright, let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm just going to let that ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, I got all my cards. Okay. Nice. So we're going to get a final message, and then we'll wrap this up. I feel like this year has been a year of pushing us into self-discovery more than any other, and of discovering our own internal truths. And they may be different. I mean, it's kind of to be expected, because all of our experiences and perspectives and paths are different, but they should all be, I don't want to say should be, there's a possibility that they're all, again, connected to a greater, grander, more centralized truth. It's just the way that you've chosen to interpret that truth from your perspective, from your side of the sun, right? Sun looks different from all the planets because they're all at different distances, right? Imagine being on Mercury, where the sky is probably like all sun. So, final message from the Witch's Tarot, please. I don't know. Like the SKT says, it's time for us to go beyond the gates of Hierophant energy, to claim those keys for ourselves, and not to just discover what lies beyond. You know? Hierophant, who's with it? Hierophant and the Ace of Swords. Hierophant's like, no, don't leave. I'll give you some more of the truth. I'll give you more truth. You weren't looking hard enough. And it's like, girl, I'm done. If the truth resonates with what I find for myself and what I discover to be truth for me, then I'll take it. If not, I'll leave it. I'm not dependent on you anymore. I kind of sort of never was. Kind of sort of. Because, I don't know, there's just like some inconsistencies And again, when I was younger, I always attributed it to, humans are inherently imperfect, and divinity is something inherently perfect, and we can't encapsulate, or fully know something that by a difference of nature we'd never understand or be in the space of understanding. Plus, with all the egos that people put on everything, it's like, you trust me to believe that. Okay. Five of Wands and the Nine of Wands, Ace of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles, Four of Swords and the Chariot. Nine of Wands and the Five of Wands, I feel like that's about holding the vision. Ace of Wands into the Queen of Pentacles, because something that it's gonna lead you basically to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's gonna lead you to something that works for you. Something that works for you that you can also be passionate and excited about, because it speaks to the element of your indivisible soul. And then we have the Four of Swords and the Chariot energy, which may be two conflicting energies, but again, it's about moving forward in this very fluid way from a space of peace. And it shifts the storm around us. Four of Wands, with the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, and the Three of Cups, and the Five of Cups, with the High Priestess there. Nothing and no one is perfect. And the sooner we can accept that, the sooner we can allow for time to reveal what it needs. It's almost like the truth is also something organic. Not the indivisible, grand, central truth, but all of these offshoots of that truth. They're organic. They grow and change and evolve as we grow and change and evolve, because again, these personal truths are connected to the space that we're in. And a lot of times we sort of put ourselves in this position, in this space, where we try to make our own personal truths applicable for everything and everyone. And it's like, who's to say that things operate in different spaces the same that they operate here, right? It's funny how it's interesting how some scientists can notice certain similarities in their immediate environment, in their observable environment, and then make those things true for the universe at large, when we don't even understand how most of the matter is in a phase that's not even in line with our own, where it's all like antimatter or dark matter. It's like, we know next to nothing about antimatter and dark matter, but we're going to assume that the entire universe operates on these principles from the space that we observe. And like I said, it's almost like this truth is organic. That's why it's unknowable for people. That's why the High Priestess is the High Priestess, because it's connected to these different potentialities, to the different timelines. It's almost like in a different timeline, in a different potentiality, in a different dimension, things behave differently. If you align to a lower timeline, it may be the truth that nothing will ever work out, as long as you're in the space of nothing ever working out. That will continue to be true. But that's a truth. That's a mutable truth. It's a truth that can be subjected to change through time. Time being the abstracted, it's like time is abstracted growth and evolution. And abstract time and observable time are different, because abstract time, it's like a series of conditions that need to be met. So let's say that something, it's just like like my degree, it was supposed to take 4 years, right? But as long as I have degree requirements that are unfulfilled, it will take me longer. It doesn't matter how long the program is sort of on paper supposed to be. If the requirements aren't fulfilled, then your time has not yet come. And if you're waiting for time to pass and never fulfilling requirements, then the time will never come. And with the Three of Cups and the Five of Cups, it's this, it feels like it's an openness and an awareness of cycles, honestly. Because any plant that stands for long periods of time, they go through the winter just like they go through the spring. And they have to survive the winter to make it to the next spring. They got to survive summer to make it to fall. Okay. That was a little long because I made it, but I was feeling it. Ooh, Death and the High Priestess. See, the High Priestess knows what awaits something in the next cycle, past what we can see. All right. I kind of want to pull some Oracle cards, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't know what I'm going to title this. I might not. I might just leave it Hierophant spread. Ooh, Ten of Pentacles with the Ten of Wands, though. The Ten of Pentacles with the Six of Cups. And the Chariot with the Six of Cups. Final message. Excuse me, from the Witch's Tarot. I might go sit back out on the porch. I need to do this more. I need to do it. It just, I don't know why I struggle doing homework. This is my test, y'all. I got 2 months to finish this mess. And it's already mid-October. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait. I'm over here like, wait. Because I was just going to like take it easy today. Or no, it was yesterday. I woke up not wanting to get out of bed. I said I could be in bed all day today. Then I was like, wait. Today is like the 11th of October. I have like literally 2 months to finish this class. I got to do something today. He's getting it done. All right, final message. Ooh, there we go. Thank you. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands. It's time to get ready. Things speed up. With the Empress. With the Empress. With the Empress. Empress energy, it's all about development. Right? The fetus develops. The biology of the lady, the woman, the bearer develops. And sometimes, one is ready before the other is ready. Or one sort of naturally pushes before the other is ready. What's at the top of the deck? Because I'm curious. Oh, that Ten of Swords. That Ten of Swords. I mean, labor pains. After Eve ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, one of the curses she had was that labor would now be painful. And so the other day I asked my mom, I was like, wait, did Adam and Eve have kids before Because I was like, did Eve experience a painful labor after they were ejected from the Garden of Eden? Or was she just told that it would be painful? Because if she didn't have any kids before, she wouldn't have known the difference before they were cast out of Eden and after they were cast out of Eden. It just randomly came to my mind. I was like, did she have kids? I mean, it doesn't say. It doesn't say she didn't, right? I don't know. Anyway, it's this like labor painting type energy. But with that owl back there, the owl is the voice of spirit that we listen to. Basically, it's the voice that tells us that it's not for no reason. It's not for naught, right? And when we understand that, it changes the way we interact with difficulty, and it changes the way we interact with adversity. And if we can look at difficulty and adversity as an opportunity to come into or master certain skills that will make whatever we're creating ultimately at the end better, then we like walk away from that interaction with a completely different mindset. And from that mindset, we grow and we evolve and we change more than we would have if we're just suffering for seemingly no reason. Page of Swords with Judgment at the bottom of the deck. Judgment at the bottom of the deck with Page of Swords at the top. Okay. I'll actually read the Page of Swords. Why not? Why not? It's about a new way of thinking. It's about a new way of being. I gotta go to the restroom. Page of Swords. The Page of Swords ushers in a new challenge. Hey, that's what I was talking about. Challenges. Focused on words and ideas. Interpreted literally, this could mean you've just started writing a novel, or perhaps accepted a job as an etymology professor. Etymology is about the origins of words, I believe. I'm pretty sure. It's about the origins of words. Um, but more often than not, it simply means you're facing a big task and you're about to wet your pants with either fear or excitement. Okay. Harness this harness this anxious energy and use it. Sure, your brain is abuzz with an unruly swarm of thoughts, but the right shaped funnel can pour them into your work in a constructive way. Talking about Empress energy funneling things, right? And then funneling it in, funneling it out, or it just naturally comes out. I don't know, just pop out. Craft your ideas with care and discipline, and you'll have nothing to fear except those PP pants. Oh gosh, I love that. I love the entries for these cards. I fear nothing. I conquer everything. I won't stop for anything. Except sometimes Xanax. Or except sometimes a Xanax. Okay. That there was I can play a little bit of a chaotic energy sometimes. I can't help it. Chaos is one of my guilty pleasures. But it reminds me of when we were scheduling shifts over the summer. And everyone was fighting over who got what days because it's the summer and everybody ain't trying to, work on the weekend or do whatever because they got plans. And so I didn't really care when I worked because, I didn't really have any plans. A lot of the people that I hang out with over the summer were also working because I worked a campus job a few years. So I had like a crew of people that I knew that were going to be there, right? And it's not like I was going home for anything really. But when it came to announcing shifts, sometimes I'd just be like, I want it. I want that. Oh, never mind. No, I don't. Just to stress out the person who was already stressed and create more disharmony where there was already disharmony. And I'm just like laughing the whole time. And then, she was like, Patrick, stop. You're stressing me out. I was like, okay. So I stopped. But a few weeks after that, I talked about it with one of these girls, or with one of the girls that I worked with. And she was like, that was like so stressful. I had to take a Xanax after the meeting. I was like, what? Really? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh. And she was like if I had known that she was going to be like so stressed that she'd have to take a Xanax, I wouldn't have done whatever. And I did calm down. But anyway, it reminded me of that. A lot of people fighting over the same things for their own reasons. And, you know, if we sit down and come up with a consensus, I'm pretty sure there would have been a way to make everyone happy and not just sort of the free for all whatever. And in that situation, there were some people who have a similar job during the school year. And they're like, oh, well, this is just how we do it. And me and some other people were like, okay, well, this ain't the school year. And just because this is the way that y'all usually do it doesn't mean that we're going to consent to doing it the same way, especially if there's a better way to do it. So we're not just going to keep doing it this way because that's the way that you're used to it being done, sweetie. Sorry, you're not in charge. It's all about equity over here. Y'all can do the free for all, and y'all can do seniority, and y'all can do this, and y'all can do that on your own time. But while Patrick is here, and those who agree with Patrick are here, we're gonna do this in a way that, you know, works for everybody. And there are people who are like, you know, I'm not gonna be leaving for like the 4th of July or for this weekend or that weekend, so I can work those weekends. And it's like, and then those are the weekends that everyone else is freaking out about getting their minimum required number of shifts so that they don't have to work. And it's like, girl, anyway, I don't know if that's relevant. There are better, less confusing ways to do things. Don't be an agent of chaos, I guess, like I was years ago. And the thing with the Four of Swords and the Chariot card, and I think I talked about it, it's that when you move with that Four of Swords energy, it's like you create this eye in a storm. And however you're polarized in that space, speaking of upspin and downspin, so let's say that upspin is the natural entropic tendency of the universe for things to lean towards the way that's more chaotic. Well, you can switch your spin to a downspin. And it's like instead of it being in that default chaos sort of swirl pattern, you can switch the spin into a harmony swirl pattern. And as you move with that Four of Swords harmony, it's like this eye that brings other things into place, where you can kind of sort of navigate into any space and know that you'll be taken care of, right? I don't know. I just threw that on at the end. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope it... I don't know what there is to gain or get out of this, but if you found something that resonated in here, cool. Because I don't know what this was. But I did it! Yay!